Oblivion is here, and my name is Shader, and today we're doing something a little bit different. You see, I like games. I like making games. I like games with a bunch of cool stuff, and I also like characters within games, and I like designing characters. Now, I'm not a great artist, and I've yet to make any digital games. I've made a few, card games using printed out stuff. But I have created a long lore and stuff of stories I've made up for this hypothetical world of games. And I thought, what a better way to incorporate that into my channel with you guys than to make some new additions. So, for this, I have decided to make a fun little wheel. I will spin the wheels, getting each trait from their race, their powers, a main color for them, secondary colors I get to choose, and a general personality trait that I can kind of go off. Along with that, I have subsections as well. For example, if they get a demon power, I go to look at what specific demonic power. This is all within the stuff that I've already laid out over the years. No need to wait, let's get started! And we got Serpent! Okay. The one that has the least amount of characters already existing with it. God, the one that I don't know how to do. Great, Serpent. Now, since we just have Serpent, we now move on to their primary color. Now, I don't know if they're going to be a serpent body yet or not, but we'll see. Their primary color is black. Way to make it edgy. So, a black main color, serpent, like, okay. But let's see about their species now. Are they actually a serpent? Or do they just have serpent powers? But you look at that, they're human. So they just have serpent powers, they're human, the main color scheme is black. That is interesting. I wonder what I could do with that. Maybe a hybrid species? Not a hybrid sorry, the hybrid is in there, but I mean like... No, so it wouldn't be that. Let's see, how did they get their snake powers? But more importantly, in their story, what role do they play? What kind of archetype of character are we getting? A villain. So, serpent powers, main color scheme black, they're the villain, and they're human. Wow, okay. A bit on the nose for our first one, but I don't mind, I guess. Let's have some sort of trait. God, I hope it's not kind when they're supposed to be the villain. Prideful. Okay. Now that actually gives me a lot to work with. Prideful characters are usually my favorite kind. Okay, so when I was thinking of the concept for this guy, I was a bit unsure what I wanted to do. You see, I never really practiced or had many characters with the serpent power. I knew that I wanted them to be a bulky character, and as the prideful villain, I knew I wanted them to be the main antagonist of what was going on here. As I was thinking about it, I went through the thought of how does this person act, like what is their importance within the story, more specifically that I'm making here, and why are they the villain? And more specifically, why are they as a human having the serpent powers that is pretty much always and only with serpents and even only some. So I finally got my idea down. I wanted this guy that was... So he was part of this group of people called the Shogun. Now, in my world, I already have this thing called the Shogun, it's not the same as, real life shogun, who are a group of samurais. These people, these shogun, used to, within their time, essentially kill off anything that wasn't normal by their standards. And this guy was a part of that. Now, a shogun, one of their greatest enemy was the serpents. And they went towards a mission to defeat the serpents, of course. And it seems that I've decided this guy, he must have gone on a mission, or he must have had his own troop. And he was attacked. And there are these things called the serpent blade, where if you took that blade and it kind of partially gave you some powers, or it could be permanently stuck into you and give you a power. Now, that's how he got it. He was attacked by the serpents, and in a fight to defeat them, took the blade. Now, as I said, he's very prideful, so as you can see, I've made a helmet where he wears it to kind of hide his face from the power, kind of changing his biology. Now, because of his actions, he's kind of left off from the group of his main team and has gone on his own mission to not only get all the serpent blades and destroy them, but also bring serpents to complete extinction. Not a good thing to do. Especially since the serpents are very well known for being territorial. Essentially, they will, if something was theirs and was taken at any point, they will fight for it till the end. They are very, I guess you could say, stubborn in that way. So here I was incorporating the colors that I wanted for the character. Obviously, black was a main keepsake of what I wanted them to look like. But I was also thinking of adding this deep red. You see the Shogun have a lot of deep reds, just like actual samurai armor. And I thought I should incorporate that too. That's me getting the skin color down. I'm not great with skin tones of any kind. I decided to add in some accented highlights. He's, like I said before, very prideful, and I thought that he'd want to decorate his armor and his clothing and stuff with those Shogun colors, even if he was essentially going rogue by having those powers. Now, as I thought about it, I went for some more mixes, added some darker hues, used the reds as a stronger highlight, and went on for that. As you see here, I then went on to shading. It's a lot of layer work. I have to go back to a previous character as they have the specific color I use for shading. I don't know why I don't save the colors. You can see my palette on the side. But there I go through adding all the shaded bits that I need. I clearly don't have amazing skill when it comes to art. I would like to get better. Right now I mainly just use the easy tools that are given to me. I'm not very good with freehand, at least not digitally. I'm okay in a physical sense. Like, I guess traditional, not physical. I got some more time there. But as you can see, just adding shading to each part, I think there should be layers. He wears a lot of armor plating and then the cloth, so each segment of that needs to be given its own shade. And that's our guy. As I was thinking about him, I was thinking what to name him, and eventually I got a pretty good name idea. The Viper Knight. Okay, let's see what we get. And their power is... Ooh, Swift. That's like the super speed. There's a lot you can do with that. That's quite interesting. I wonder what we'll get. Next up, let's figure out this main color. What we gonna get? Purple? Purple it is. Purple is interesting. That's a color that we haven't used for Swift. Usually Swift characters have like their own separate colors. Species, what we doing? Human? Human, that's a human. We haven't had any Swifts with other species. So It would have been interesting to try out, but you know the standard is humans get the Swift. Now let's see, what role do they play in this story? Are they with our bad guy? Are they against him? Are they some sort of third character? Ooh. Hero. So I'm gonna make this character our protagonist, I think. I think that'll be pretty interesting. Yeah, we haven't had a... Well, Swifts are usually protagonists, but... Let's see their trait first. I wonder what I'm gonna do with them. I guess that depends on this trait. Oh. Lazy. Lazy. Lazy is interesting. I don't know how I'm gonna make that work. Lazy is gonna be a hard one to make work. I don't usually... That's... I've got a lot to think about. Well, I'll see what to do. So for this one, I thought, what is our main character gonna be? I wanted it to be a nice contrast, and I thought, well, if they're supposed to be our protagonist, our hero, why don't they work with the snakes, you know? If this whole plot is about our main villain trying to extinct the serpent species, then why wouldn't our main character have a strong connection to them? They must have a reason to be defending the serpents, especially since, again, they're human and not serpent, and usually humans and serpents have a lot of fighting between each other. So I thought maybe this girl was grown up, adopted by a group of serpents. Maybe they were keeping hold of one of the serpent blades, those daggers, more specifically the Swift. By the way, Swift is super speed. So I thought this girl, she would have been brought up by the serpents, been taught in their ways that once they own something, that should be theirs forever. And that theft is the biggest injustice, and that revenge is a very powerful thing. Now, this girl's lazy. I'm guessing she must have been taught the serpent ways and training, as they were a very powerful group of people, probably taught how to fight. But since she was lazy, maybe she always took a shortcut, never fully learned, never fully was able to figure things out. And when one day our main villain, the Viper Knight, came to attack their group of people and killed her family, she was just too slow to save them. Just not good enough to save. Just not quite there to be able to save her family. Now, while some people would take this as a sign to train, like the other surviving servants, to get back what is theirs, she took the shortcut. She took the easy route, and she injected herself with the serpent blade of Swift, permanently giving her the power of Swift. Now, Swift can manifest itself in many different ways for a lot of people. For her, it was actually interesting. I wanted something that worked with her slower pace. So I thought, what if when she activates her power, it creates, depending on the intensity of this power, a bubble, essentially, force around wherever she's mainly exuding it. Could be from her core or from a specific limb. Maybe if she got stronger, she could project it onto an object that she throws or something like that. But anything within that space that doesn't have the power itself is slowed down. Now, from the perspective of anyone inside, it would look like she's going at super speeds. But if you look from outside, she's just moving at normal speed, while everyone else within it is slowed down to a grueling pace. Now here I was thinking of designing her costume. What would she wear? Probably something to resemble her serpents while keeping that speed. So I took inspiration from the Swift symbol that I use. and wanted to go with those jaggedy lines while also trying to show a bit of a serpent-y look onto her garments. Now, I decided to semi-copy this design on the second part, and eventually I went into what I wanted for the color and the eyes. Now, I made her a little cross-eyed there, and just decided to copy it over so I can get the exact shape I wanted. Now, her mission, obviously, is to stop our Viper Knight, but she obviously wants to remove the power from her anyway. She isn't a true kind-hearted hero. She doesn't want to have these powers. She doesn't want to have the responsibility, but she's fueled by her revenge to go out through this mission. Now, as she leaves, obviously the serpents are following after her, since now she's stolen from them. Essentially, without her family there to defend her, she's become enemy number one. Now, as you can see there, I'm incorporating the purpley magenta look that I wanted for her costume. I wanted to keep it more as a highlight feature, unlike what I did with Viper Knight, where black was the main aspect of it, because this is the costume she had before she got her powers. I tried incorporating more purples or blues. I decided to go for a brown, more of a normal robe look. This is more of the costume and robes that all the serpents within that small tribe wore, as it was resembling the serpent blade that they were protecting. Now, I decided to mix things up. I don't actually have many characters with ginger hair, just because most of the characters I made were when I was a kid, and so it was inspired by what I saw. And I live in a not necessarily gated, but not extremely diverse, at least at the time of me being a kid. I did not have a lot of diversities, and there wasn't much talk about, other cultures and stuff. So, it's ginger hair. There's not much culture behind it from what I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, that is our serpent girl. And I dubbed her Slow-Mo. Let's choose our power for character number 3. Let's see what we get. Ooh, we got none. Huh, that's interesting. No power. Well, let's see. What are we gonna do for our main color? Let's figure that out. Red. Interesting. Now, a mystery and a primary color of red. Let's see what species they are. Now, we've had no serpents, and it's a bit of a serpent story. And we're still not going to have any serpents. This is a mystery man, or woman, or human. Whatever they want to, wherever I end up choosing they identify as. Well then, what is their role? Are they part of the villains team? Or are they part of the heroes? Or are they a completely separate entity? Just barely a hero. This character will probably act as a side character to our main person. Let's pick their trait. And they are silly. A person with mystery powers, their main color is red and they're silly. Huh? I don't even know how that could. So, for this guy, I was a bit unsure on what to do. Now, I wanted them to be funny. I wanted them to work as a secondary primary character to our protagonist, someone that would help them out, but maybe had not as much of an importance within the overarching story, but could have also had their own role in it. Now, my first thought when I saw red as their primary color was again Shogun, as the Shogun are very closely related to the story. Maybe because of the fact that our main villain took these serpent powers, like I said before, is being now hunted by the Shogun, and maybe this guy was sent out to kill him. Probably some other people, because he seems quite new and doesn't understand a lot of what it means to be a Shogun, isn't fully indoctrinated, is the word I'd use, into what they are. So he's weak, he's not that strong. He wears a full suit of Shogun armor that is made of ash, or is otherwise called fangtooth. Now, this material has the inherent power to negate other powers and abilities. You know, got a fireball, throw it at some fangtooth or ash, and poof, fireball does nothing. Or even at strong amounts, could disappear in the air. Now, this is more of a scale thing. If your power is strong enough, it can overcome it. If the fangtooth or ash is pristine enough and built in a strong enough structure, it could also stop it. Fantasy, I can make up whatever I want. Also science fiction. Anyway, I thought of this guy and decided to name him the Crimson Warrior, as you just saw there. Now, this kid, he is going after our main villain in attempts to stop him for what he's done, but doesn't fully realize what that means in terms of the Shogun. You can see me there putting in all the ash. I think the red parts of it would just be a painted on or like a glass visor sort of thing, and that's where I ended it off. I wanted them to all be this powerful group. I wanted him to essentially try to defeat our main villain, and as he goes along, learns that the reason he's defeating the main villain is for essentially this dumb reason. You can see me trying to add some detail patternings there. And as he learns on and makes friends with this mysterious girl that is also trying to stop the same guy he's stopping, he realizes that the people he works with, or the people he admires, are not as great as he may have used to think. And that, while the Shogun seem cool, they're actually an awful group of people. Now, as he goes on his journey, he figures this out and decides to help our main character. Still going with the goal of defeating our main villain, but now for a different purpose. Because it's the wrong thing, and not just for this loyalty to the Shogun. And that's him, the Crimson Warrior. Hope you all enjoyed that video. I'm thinking of maybe doing more of these. This might just be the only one. I hope it isn't, because I have enjoyed this. But maybe I should do some other stuff. Maybe instead of making new characters, I should explore some of the old stories and more explain the world that all of this exists in. Now, Oblivion is a canonical thing within I like to call them my games, but, they're more word of mouth type games that I used to play. Don't really get too much anymore, but they've grown into a long story. So if you'd like to see me maybe delve into the already existing story, or just add in more and slowly learn through that, or maybe you'd like a little bit of both. Maybe I could do a few ones where I show off some of the old characters and explain their story, and maybe sometimes I can do this and introduce new stories within different time periods. Now, for example, this Shogun Serpent fight would have been before the start of the main storyline. You know, you get like prequels and stuff, which, yeah, but where it originally started, this would have taken place before that. Maybe even just slightly before. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like the video, and if you want to see more, that would be greatly appreciated. Stuff's just getting started here. We've just passed our first month, and I'm hoping to make a whole lot more. You have been in Oblivion, and I have been Shader. See you next time.